In this video, I'm going to be giving you a framework on how we actually migrate all of our profiles to Klaviyo. So this works whether you are on, HubSpot, Mailchimp, SendLane, ActiveCampaign, OmniSend. If you're watching this video, you probably are interested in actually migrating your accounts all the way over to Klaviyo, or you're interested in migrating over to, an ESP like SendLane. What I'm going to be explaining in this video is going to be mainly focusing on how to migrate to Klaviyo, but I did want to touch on the fact that it's very simple to basically reverse engineer this framework that I'm going to be giving in this video because it's very, very simple. And if you understand this framework, all you're really going to need is the framework to basically go ahead and whether you're migrating from Klaviyo or to Klaviyo, it really doesn't matter. You just need to follow this framework and basically you'll be able to migrate from wherever you want to actually, migrate from to wherever you want to migrate to. So what is this basic migration framework? So this framework is basically, it can be done within like 1 to 2 days. Sometimes we've even got this done within like a few hours. Depending on the account size, it depends on the platforms that you're using. Obviously, there's a lot of different like ESPs. The migration process can seem daunting at first because you're basically taking all of your profile data and just moving it to another place. It's like you might actually run into issues, you might run into different problems. But I'm going to be trying to basically walk you through this framework in the simplest way possible so you can avoid those mistakes. So all you're really doing is taking your customer data from one platform to another. So this is basically our system and how we actually migrate profiles to Klaviyo. So this first part applies to basically any like account that you actually are migrating from or to. So the first thing you do is basically do an audit. So you want to basically assess how many profiles you have within these actual major segments. So every account is different, but that's why we do these full audits because these are basically the primary profiles that you use if no audit is actually done in a general sense. So this is just a framework. So you want to make sure you gather as much data as possible before you actually go ahead and export. And the reason why we want unengaged profiles within these actual segments is so that we can actually, sometimes they may contain, buyers. So we want their data to be used, but we want to basically go ahead and suppress them if it can't be used. We don't want to actually delete their data. We want to actually, keep their data, see what we can do with them. And honestly, if we can't actually convert them, then we go ahead and suppress them. So the first one is the full newsletter. So we basically get the full newsletter from your actual account. So if you go into OmniSend right here, this is a dummy account. If we just move up here, you'll basically see like a bunch of different, different segments and different, profiles that we actually, migrate. This is obviously a dummy account, so there's like zero contacts. But as you see, we'll have the buyers list, the 30-day engaged, 6-day engaged, people who are at risk of churn, low engagement spam, SMS list, and SMS spam. So basically, we have this, and this, and this. Now, how this would look in your case, since you're not using a dummy account, is you would actually have like a contact list that you can actually export. This is just an example of what I'm doing within this dummy account. But just basically, all you're really doing is taking these people who are actually engaged. So let's just go into this 30-day engaged segment right here. All you're really doing is you want to basically take these people who are actually engaging with your emails and divide it based on different lists. So that, for example, this is a 30-day engaged segment. You go ahead and convert this to a list within the actual account, or if you have a list already made for it, you'd go ahead and take this and obviously you go ahead and export it. If you go over here to imports and exports, you're basically going to go ahead and export your 30-day engaged list. When you go over here, you want to basically take these people and convert them to a list. You want to do that for your 30-day engaged, you want to do it for your 6-day engaged, and you want to do it for your 90-day engaged. If you want to get the 90-day engaged, all you'd have to do is just go over here and make a copy of it. So we want to make a 90-day engaged and OmniSend. We just go over here, copy this, go into your 90-day that we just copied, and change it to 90 days. So make sure this is actually 90. And all we're really doing is just taking these engaged profiles and literally just exporting them. So if you go back to this framework, you want to basically take all these segments and basically making them into a list that you can actually export. So you want to do that for your engaged list. You do this for your buyers list. So if you go back over here to your buyers, you do this for your buyers as well. Your full newsletter, and this will be called your old newsletter because it's going to be like obviously an old newsletter because some of these people aren't going to actually be engaged. And then bounced list, you want to basically get all these people who have bounced and spammed, and you want to export them as well. Your SMS list, you want to get that as well, and also get people, if you actually want to get the people who have engaged with your SMS list, people who are not engaged within your SMS list, and basically just get kind of all the details and data that you actually want to keep, and just get all those people and obviously export them as well. Now you have to do that for if you're on Mailchimp, if you're on SendLane, you want to do that on whatever platform that allows you to do it. The reason why I like Klaviyo so much is because it allows us to basically, be more granular with the data that we have. So you can get like really, really technical with your actual data. With OmniSend, it's like pretty limited. Like for example, OmniSend doesn't even have a side abandonment flow that allows you to collect people who reach out to people who have gone on your website and just never actually, viewed a product. They basically went on your website and they just like left. OmniSend doesn't have that flow. Klaviyo has that flow. Just that's just an example. So once you actually get these people and you go ahead and create your engaged list, your engaged segments, whichever it is, your buyers list, your full newsletter, your bounced, your spams, your SMS list, you want to basically go ahead and move on to the next step. So now that you have all of your profiles, audited and exported, you need to actually go ahead and export them individually, and then they will basically be in the CSV file because you obviously don't want to basically manually enter these people, and we're actually migrating to Klaviyo. So when you make your Klaviyo account, you go through the setup process and enter your information. You're going to upload all of your CSVs to a master newsletter list, and except for the spam, bounce, heavily unengaged non-buyers, where we'll actually go ahead and suppress them. So this is an example. So we go over here to our profiles in Klaviyo. You go to view suppressed profiles, and then basically this is your suppression list. Now again, this is a dummy account, but basically go here to import, and then obviously go ahead and import those CSVs of all the people who have they're really unengaged, or they've bounced way too much, they spam way too much. You want to go ahead and suppress these people. But if you do want to choose to not suppress them, you can do that as well. You just go over here to your list and segments, and then we go ahead and create the list. You want to create that list of let's just say spammers, because I know a lot of brands they'd rather just keep their data and just see what they can do with it. So you just go over here to the spammers list, and you just upload your contacts to the spammers list, and obviously do with that with what you will. So once you go ahead and upload all those people, right? So you're going to upload obviously your list. So by creating corresponding lists within Klaviyo. So just like we just did with the spammers list, you're going to go ahead and do that for your 30-day engage list. So 30-day engage list. We go over here, create the list, and upload the contacts. Now, the reason why we're creating lists and not segments is because we won't be able to have, you won't basically have data coming through your account until you actually get cookied, which is the process we're going to actually go over in this video. Basically, this is basically how it look. You'd have segments with just a few couple people, even though you probably have hundreds of thousands of people in your email list. That's how it looks with segments when you actually go ahead and upload people, because you're not cooking these people yet. You just uploaded them, so Klaviyo can't basically tell if they're actually opening emails or clicking emails or they signed up or whatever. Klaviyo has no data whatsoever until they actually cookie your actual emails, which is basically engaging with your emails. We're going to cover that really, really soon. So you're going to go ahead and upload all these people. You may have to place your profiles in a Google Sheet if your ESP or email service provider doesn't export CSVs, or if Klaviyo detects an error in the upload process. So essentially, sometimes when you upload these profiles, it will give you some type of error with the format of the actual file. So Klaviyo will just go ahead and give you a ping if that happens, and will basically explain that so there's some error that you need to fix. And how you fix that is you just go into your Google Sheet, you upload the CSV to a Google Sheet, and then obviously you go ahead and change the format that's actually telling you to actually fix. So at this point, you're basically halfway through. Migration is complete from ESP to ESP. So you basically went ahead and we went ahead and took our engaged list. We took people who were at risk of churn, maybe people who are spamming, low engagement, SMS list, SMS spam, 90-day engaged list. You're taking all these people and you're basically pushing them to the ESP that you want to actually upload to. If you're going to go over here to Mailchimp, if you're going to Mailchimp, you just go ahead and upload your profiles in the audience section, obviously, where you'd add contacts, and obviously on SendLane you do the same thing. In Klaviyo, what we did was we went over here to the create list. We went ahead and just uploaded it that way. That's how it'd be for the lists. And again, we're not doing segments yet because we don't have data since we just uploaded. And since Klaviyo doesn't have any type of cookie process, because like we didn't send any emails and they didn't engage with the emails, Klaviyo's not going to have like data to basically make segments yet. So at this point, migration is complete. You went ahead and forwarded all of your context, but now you have the prime for sending, which is what I've been saying throughout this video. Once profiles are in, you'll have to start cooking the profiles. This means that the data you previously exported may be there, but Klaviyo's powerful segmentation doesn't kick in until they actually interact with the emails. So in email marketing, you send to segment normally. So you have like a segment that is constantly being updated with new data. But when you first migrate to the account, you'd send a list so that the newly migrated profiles get cookied and cached by Klaviyo software. So this is by the profiles interacting with the actual emails. They need to actually interact with the emails for the segment to actually recognize that, what they're actually doing and basically track those profiles. So you'll start with your 30-day list or a list is engaged already. So this is for deliverability purposes. You don't want to send, like when you first get onto any type of ESP, to send to your spammers list or just to your full newsletter. It's a really bad idea because like obviously you just migrated to an ESP, you don't have the best reputation. So we go ahead and send to our 30-day engaged list or a list that we know is actually engaged. So we go over here. Let's just say this was the list that we took from, let's just say OmniSend or MailChimp or SendLane. We go over here and we send to this list, this 30-day engaged list. And then obviously that's going to go ahead and cookie those profiles. And then you'll start to see kind of like in this engagement segment, not list, the segment, you'll start to see people starting to like come through because they're actually starting to open the emails or click the emails, interact with the emails. So just a little note, a list is static and it doesn't change. A segment is dynamic and it does change. So it updates profiles automatically. So your 30-day engaged segment will never be a set number. It'll always be up, like going up or down. And it's ever growing and changing. But your 30-day engaged list, this will always be basically the same number until you actually, add to it or remove to it. So it'll eventually become outdated. So eventually, when you have this account open for like a month, you're constantly sending. Eventually, this list will just be outdated because you'll have more and more people coming into your 30-day engaged list. So you want to start slow with the campaigns. So you could start reading the data for deliverability and overall domain reputation. That's why you start small. And you need to see if your emails are actually being delivered and everything's good before actually ramping up. So you then go to, your 60-day engaged, your 90-day engaged, then you send to the full list. And then that you want to basically graduate to like the full list, because then you go ahead and expedite the cooking and caching process for profiles. So once that's accomplished, you'll basically be able to use Klaviyo's powerful segments. So you'll be able to segment by buyers, non-buyers, potential buyers, and essentially just go ahead and go through all the lists that you uploaded and then just look at the amount of segments that you have built out based on those lists. So for example, you're going to have a 30-day engaged list right here. And then you probably want to create an engaged 90-day list. So you go ahead and create the engaged 90-day list. Obviously, that's going to start, people are going to start cooking. They're going to start opening your emails, clicking your emails. And obviously, Klaviyo is going to start putting those people into segments. And obviously, it's just going to take it away from there. So migration, it requires patience because obviously this cooking and caching process, but it's very important not to actually neglect other foundations of your email and SMS marketing. So you want to basically focus on your flows, you want to focus on your sign-up forms, your SMS. You don't want to just focus on just sending campaigns. You want to focus on other things as well to make sure that it's a smooth and obviously a quicker process. You don't want to just get too caught up with just sending campaigns. So it can be a tedious process, but with the right framework like this right here, it can work very, very, very easily. So that's basically the end of this video. Let me know if you have any other questions below, And yeah, I'll see you guys in another video if I record another one. Take care.